Yes, guys. You're locked into another episode of the Red Sea Full Time. It's your co-host here, Thiago's father, 89, outside of Anfield, and we are celebrating a win. And also, I've got a very, very special friend with me, my co-host here, SS. How you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, just what all Doctor ordered, wasn't it? Lovely 2-0 win, nice professional performance, and yeah, can't wait to get into it, really.
I know, mate. Talk us through the start of the game. Absolutely electric. Great to start with a win.
Absolutely. I mean, even going back to coming into the stadium, there was a little bit of trouble with the old queues, with the electric entrances, but we were queuing back to them in the Trent mural, weren't we, to get into the ground? But
yeah,
made it in. Everyone singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." 54,000 fans in there, all singing. I must admit, I did shed a little bit of a tear. It was very, very special. Everybody's been through so much, through COVID and personal loss and everything else that's been going on over the last couple of years. So everybody singing those words, it means more than football. So for sure, that was very, very special. But yeah, looking at the lineup, Elliott and Keita, I didn't expect to see Elliott in the lineup, but I think he played.
Massive shock.
Yeah, massive respect and trust. Klopp has in Elliott there. Oxenmilner not even in the squad. Fabinho obviously missing through the loss of his father, which we obviously all send our condolences from LFC Daytrippers and from the Red Sea pod. But yeah, we started pretty brightly. Burnley did actually start to get on top just before the goal. So it was a good time to get the goal. Jota with his head, the amount of goals he scores with his head is actually crazy for a little guy. But we've seen him do it for Portugal and for Liverpool. So yeah, it got us on our way, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Kev O'Sullivan here in the chats as well. That was a big physical test as we get this season, and everyone stood up well to it. I totally agree with you, Kevin. And every now and again, you saw them try and play off Van Dijk. And I was saying before the game, it was obvious that the tactic and one of the probably things they were probably looking to do is say, do you know what? Test that knee. Let's see if he is up to full fitness. Let's actually see where he's at with his rehab. And do you know what? Virgil was absolutely immense. I mean, 10 out of 10 for his in terms of the performance. Seeing that 40-yard raking ball back live at Anfield was absolutely amazing. And, he came through it with flying and glowing colours. And I'd say definitely a 10 out of 10 on the performance. Another player which I think performed really, really well in terms of his overall performance. SS, you may not agree. Naby Keita. And another comment here from Chris
I better
Raymond.
not say anything, I'll get slaughtered again.
No, do you know what? Looking at it subjectively, I came here to actually have a look at how Naby performed. I wanted to see it live because we were really critical of how his performance against Norwich. But today, I feel ball retention was really, really good. He recycled possession, absolutely fantastic. Breaking up the lines, cutting out the passes, a lot of tackles in that midfield as well. And he was an option also for Alisson Becker, put a short ball out from the keeper. Everything I want to see from Naby Keita if he is going to fill that Gini Ronaldo role. I mean, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, going back to Van Dijk and Matip just at the start of what you were saying, Burnley play a 4-4-2. We were saying on the Red Sea Fab 4 preview last night that it's very rare to see that in the Premier League these days, a flat 4-2. But it was just a battle, wasn't it? It was striker versus centre-back. Matip versus Barnes and Wood versus Van Dijk, and they swapped and changed around, but both of them equal to it. And like we talked about last night, you look at Van Dijk's knee. Obviously, Sean Dyche is going to be in the pre-match conference, and prepping his players, saying test him, get at him, see what he's got. And we forget Matip as well has been out for a long time, so both of them are pretty not really match fit in terms of competitive games. So. But both of them stood up fantastically. They won their headers. Their positioning was good. Their communication was good. I mean, we were sitting right at the very top of the main stand, and you said yourself, row 89. You could hear Van Dijk's bellows and organisational skills. So even if he's not quite there, match fitness wise, that's the Burnley strikers see Van Dijk in the lineup, and that's 25% of their kind of confidence gone because he's on the lineup. So really impressed with those two. 10 out of 10 from both of them. Alisson pulled up absolute worldies as well. A little bit dodgy with his kicks in the first half, feeling his way back in again. But overall, again, superb. But just to touch on Naby, it was better than against Norwich. But again, I wasn't wowed. I don't think he was incredible. I mean, if we say 6 out of 10 is average, I think he's probably just about touched the 7. So again, I want to see more.
Is it because we're so used to him playing that more advanced role rather than what he's actually been asked to do from Jurgen Klopp in these performances? And again, I had to look at it very subjectively. I watched back our criticism, and I don't take any of it back. I was disappointed with what he'd done in the Norwich game. I expected more, but I came into this game really, really optimistic. And do you know what? I was pleasantly surprised looking at his performance today, it was gutsy. He was getting in there, he was getting involved, and again, he was wanting the ball as well. And that's a key thing. It's a key sign of a player which has had a decent pre-season, actually wanting the ball and demanding the ball. In times gone by, we've been critical of him shying away from wanting possession and not actually wanting to get on the ball. But today, he was there, he was involved. And, you know, that's all I ask from a player who's wearing the red. I want them to actually want the ball and have desire to actually do the best and achieve for the team. And I feel he's done that today. Big shout out to Abby as well in the comments as well. Yeah, we're happy to be here, pal. We really, really are.
I think it depends on who Keita plays in that midfield with, because when you've got Milner in the CDM, all due respect to Milner, but Henderson and Fabinho in that position are, you know, world-class CDMs.
Yeah.
Henderson today, that's one of the best individual performances I've ever seen, and I'm not even overreacting. He was unbelievable. I think he misplaced one pass in 90 minutes. He controlled the whole tempo. He won the ball back. Every little touch was meaningful. He wasn't just kicking it away. You know, he'd do a little side foot pass or a shimmy, or some of the passes to set up Trent down the line. Absolutely inch perfect. So, you know, the first touch Trent needs to do is the ball delivery. So Jordan Henderson in that 6, you know, he offers something different to a Fabinho in that position, but all you know, just as good. But when you see Harvey Elliott in there, you probably think that he's going to be the one that's going to be the most advanced of the three. So, like you mentioned, Keita was coming deep. Keita was the option from Alisson's feet, you know, right into the middle of the two centre-backs. Keita was dropping in and getting the ball and driving up to the halfway line and starting the attack. So I did like that about him. If he was in there with a Thiago, if he was in there with Fabinho and Ox, potentially he plays the more advanced role that we've seen him do. So, yeah, again, he was better. Has he staked a claim for a starting position when everybody back and fit yet? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously look forward to the Chelsea game. That's going to be a big test for the whole entire team. Chelsea look like a team which are trying to react to the Liverpool over the last couple of seasons and how dominant we've been. Obviously, they've gone out and signed a certain Romelu Lukaku back to the club also, and that's going to be a big test for Virgil van Dijk and whoever actually partners him in that game. I think we revert back to potentially which will be our strongest lineup. Robertson on the bench today was also encouraging signs. So could he start against Chelsea next week with a midfield of Thiago, Fabinho and Henderson, and obviously whoever is in the most form in terms of that front three? We've seen Jota grab a goal again today. He started off the season absolutely fantastic. Is he laying down a marker for Firmino to turn and say, look, I'm going to start games. You can come on and make your cameo appearances. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. I mean, what more can Jota do? He started 2 games and he scored 2 goals. And he's always a threat. He's a different option. He plays on the last man. He wants to get as many goals as Mane and Salah does. And Firmino always really is that little bit deeper, that false 9 that we're used to, and brings others into play. So it totally depends on the opposition, I feel. You know, a team like Norwich, a team like Burnley, it makes sense to have Jota as another goal option, another threat right up against the back line. And then against Chelsea, I probably would expect to see Firmino from the start, just because it's going to be a more difficult game, more possession-based. We're going to have to work a lot harder to get the ball back. You know, Burnley gave away the ball quite a lot today, just big balls up to the top 2. And, you know, when Van Dijk and Matip are playing as well as they did today, they're not getting a lot of change out of them. So I would expect Bobby to start next week. I'd expect Keita to keep his place. I don't think Thiago did enough to get a start in place next week. Keita's off the back of 2 matches. So I think Fabinho hopefully will be back by then. Henderson and Keita for the midfield, and then Mane, Salah and Bobby possibly. Hopefully Robertson back as well, which would be a massive boost. And Tsimikas did actually play quite well. We got an assist.
Yes.
There was a point where he was just getting hacked to bits against 3 players, and he still came through and kept possession of the ball for his team, but still lacks a little bit of concentration. Henderson had to get into him again in the first half. A couple of sloppy bits of play here and there, but yeah, really good. That's probably the best game I've seen Tsimikas play for us so far. Yeah,
I totally agree. We've got a comment here from Shaz. Walk around and meet each other face to face. Hold on, where are you?
He's over there somewhere.
Give us a wave. we're only 2 meters away from each other. I'm just signal going crazy.
We're on the stadium Wi-Fi.
We've got some guy in the background here, and it's strange being noticed when you're outside Anfield. We've got a couple of people going, "Oh, it's you," which is really weird, guys. If
I know the beard.
If you're wondering why I'm sounding like an absolute mental, it's because my voice has gone because I've shouted so much. But yeah, great comment here as well from Kevo Sullivan. Jota was better today, more involved. I agree with you. He wanted the ball. He was actually breaking the lines as well, putting pressure on the goalkeeper. And one thing I saw today, Nick Pope's kicking is absolutely atrocious.
He looked very wobbly, didn't he, today?
He was nervous as fuck. really. He did not want the ball at his feet. Every time we got the ball and he got the ball, there was that pressure on top of him as well to make sure that he made a mistake. We're seeing misplaced passes. We're seeing him concede possession, and that played directly into the front three's hands, which was absolutely fantastic. Massive comment here from Jonathan. We don't have to be spectacular. Just keep grinding out with the wins like we did when we won the league. Performances will come. Great start. Jonathan, I have to agree from you as well. You're right. We don't have to be spectacular. But one thing that frustrates me, and what frustrated me initially with the performance from Naby Keita last week, is I'm not asking to be spectacular. I'm asking to be better, and that's all that I'm saying. And today he was better. And it's good to see an improved performance as well. I mean, Lennon here as well. Jota was down for the scrap. I love it. We love it too as well. It's good to see Jota getting involved. And if we're talking about scrapping and being gutsy, Tsimikas, there was that bit towards the end of the game where he had three players on him and he still made it out with the ball. And that shows me that he's ready to fight for that place in the left. It
reminded me of, when Robertson did that crazy press against Man City at Anfield, where he pressed 1, pressed 2, pressed 3, pressed 4. And everybody got up on their feet, and that's what happened with Tsimikas today. I think he still needs to win a lot of people over at Liverpool in terms of the fans, and that's going to go some way to doing it, and a good assist as well.
100%. All you ever want to see is desire and fight for the shirt, and today we saw that from Tsimikas, which is good as well. You also got Chris Brack in the comments here as well. Harvey Elliott, wow, what a fantastic first start for LFC. Massive. That was a real test when he stood up to it. And again, early in the game, they looked to put him under sustained pressure to make sure he wasn't able to pick the ball up and actually pump balls into the lines and get forward, which was difficult for him to start with. Guys, we'll just hold on for a second while we've got the loudspeaker going as well. Give us a second, guys. Give us a second. We've got loudmouth on the speaker.
Operation Anfield exercise.
Exactly. But no, it was good to see Harvey Elliott actually want the ball. There was a period in the game where he was knitting things together and then demanding the ball back, lending, sharing, and asking for the ball back. That's what you want, and that's real brave from a young player in his first Premier League start of the season for Liverpool Football Club. I mean, we were shocked to see him as a starter on the team sheet, because when we looked at the opening lineup, we were obviously predicting the lineup yesterday on the Red Sea podcast, and we were thinking, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? I have to say, I thought he would start.
You did call it, mate.
To me for predicting that lineup, but no, it was good to see him involved from the start as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's like you say, it's massive trust in such a young player, isn't it? To start a game, the first home game with fans for 500 and something days. You know what absolute pressure that is to walk into the cauldron of noise, which is Anfield, and everybody was so ready to cheer the boys on. It was the loudest I've heard it for a while, but. You know, you look at the players that played last week. Milner was in the team, Ox was in the team, and you're thinking, well, they're probably going to be at least, involved, let alone dropped out the squad together. So whether there's knocks or something with those guys or strains or something potentially, but that's what I want from Keita. Elliott gets his chance and he takes it. He looked bright, he looked involved, he wanted the ball, and everything he takes on doesn't always come off, but. The fact that he's confident, he wants the ball, he's getting on the ball, and he wants to try things is all I really want to see from someone at that age. You're comparing him to seasoned internationals. He's trying to get in the team ahead of Ox and Milner and Keita and all these players that captains of captain their national teams and things like that. Yeah. And he's already seems to have overtaken Curtis Jones as well, who was another youngster coming through. So Harvey Elliott is absolute quality, and he's only going to get better and better. And as soon as we didn't loan him out, it was obvious that he was going to be involved, because otherwise it's just going to stunt him and go backwards. It makes no sense to loan him out and then keep him for a season, on the bench. So really, really impressed with him. There's definitely more to come. And you made a good point before the game. A little bit of Coutinho, left foot, cutting in and watching that right hand side of Elliott, Trent, and Salah in that first half was absolutely electric. All interchanging together, which is what we like to see. Normally we see Henderson over there because Fabinho's in the hole, but what a good option to have, Elliott and Trent linking up together, and that could be the right side for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that combination play was absolutely fantastic. And again, slipping Mo Salah in, trying to get him into advanced positions in behind the Burnley defence. What you saw today was Burnley weren't afraid to actually push out parts of the game as well. Normally we'd see Burnley sit in and try and, withstand and handle any pressure Liverpool thrown at them. But they actually came to play in the early spells of the game. But naturally, during the game, Liverpool's possession wore them down a little bit as well. Again, we've got a great comment here from Rams. Is that Rames? Sorry. Encouraging from Mane, but still a bit off the passing and finishing. I think Mane was great today. He was pressing the back line, he was running, he was dogged. It's a typical Sadio Mane performance. Now, if we're judging him by his own lofty standards, no, he wasn't where we'd expect him to be. But ultimately, he played some good stuff. you know, he was at the heart of a lot of stuff that was going on. Again, we've got some smiles coming over here as well. People smiling. I think we've got the stewards in the back here as well. You want to get away from the stewards, maybe? I don't know.
No, I think I might be a little bit controversial here. I don't think Mane had a great game. I think he had 2 or 3 chances before his goal, which were really poor. He should have scored before that. There was a cross from Salah. All he had to do was tap it in, and he didn't do it. And a lot of shots were kind of p-rollers along the floor. And I think the wait 1 second.
Anfield test again, guys.
But no, I think. I think the goal did actually get him out of trouble. I think if he doesn't score that goal, we're looking at Mane and thinking he's not quite arrived yet. He's still looking a little bit rusty. So yes, he got his goal. Yes, he took it really well. There was another one where he got it kind of on the edge of the area. Jota worked it through to him, and rather than cut inside on his right foot, he went on the outside and again made it really hard for himself. So I think just a little bit more decision making. That goal should give him the confidence now. And like we said the other day, if Mane can get 10 goals, if Salah can get 20, and Firmino and Jota can get 10 each, then it's looking pretty rosy, isn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, in terms of Mane's performance, as I said, I thought it was gutsy, and Chris Brack in the comments as well. Chamberlain was missing for personal reasons. Milner, minor knock. Ultimately, again, we wish him well, whatever else is going on as well. And a very, very good observation from Chris Brack, and it brings me nicely on to what I was about to say. No Origi, no Shaq in the squad. Are they going? Guys, obviously, we've been very vocal on the Red Sea podcast timeline in regards to some of the incomings and outgoings at Liverpool Football Club. Is Origi on the way out? There's been links with Wolves. There's been links recently with Aston Villa as well. And potentially Shaq, is he about to finalise that move to Lyon? Lyon have actually signed Emerson from Chelsea on a season-long loan. Are we about to see Shaqiri join him at Olympique Lyon? We don't know. But again, not in the match day squad. Is he trying to push through for a deadline day move? Guys, over at the LFC Daytrippers, you've obviously got Grizz Khan, who's been active on the timeline in regards to some of the incomings and outgoings. And Grizz was actually at the game today, living it up in hospitality. He wasn't sitting in cattle class with us guys.
He's lost all touch with us usuals, isn't he?
Yeah. He's elevated now. He has indeed. But guys, I mean, it's an encouraging performance. Again, two wins, 2 clean sheets. You can't really ask for more than that from a resurgent Liverpool side who arguably had an indifferent season last year. We were being judged by our own lofty standards. It wasn't the performances which we were used to from Liverpool Football Club last year. But these 2 wins gives us much encouragement for the rest of the season going forward. We march on to Chelsea at the Bridge, and naturally it's going to be a very difficult game. But I feel that we can go there and we can win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very professional performance today. I mean, last week, Norwich, mentioned are going to come 20th. They're going to lose 25 matches this season. It was a lovely warm-up match. If you could pick a game to start the Premier League season, you choose Norwich, don't you? So that was a great start. And we knew today was going to be a tougher game. They've got a lot more Premier League experience. They're not in terms of quality. I think McNeil, we talked about him at half-time, was the only one that looked kind of bright, that he could feature in a Spurs or in a top 10 team quite easily. Even at Liverpool, we were saying he can play left back, right back, left wing, right wing, and I think he'd be quite happy with a rotation kind of position. But yeah, Burnley, we know what they're going to be like. We've got a taxi ride up here with a couple of gentlemen from Northern Ireland who we were discussing it with, and you know exactly what they're going to do. Dyche's played the same way. Anybody that's tried to change the style of a club, like the likes of Stoke, have fallen foul to it and ended up going down. So you know exactly what's going to come. But really professional performance. A goal in each half, a clean sheet, which again a lot of people underrate. But even 2-0 up with the last 5 minutes to go, Burnley did start getting a few chances, and Alisson pulled off a well save. I think it was offside, but it was an absolutely brilliant save. And Van Dijk and Matip was really good last-ditch tackles and blocks as well. So if we can build on this as a good foundation, we've scored 5, we've not conceded a goal, we're top of the league as it stands. And I agree. You look onto that Chelsea game next week. They've got Arsenal. You probably expect them to come through that with 3 points. So again, it's early days. Man City have dropped 3 points. Let's make Chelsea drop 3 next week too.
Yeah, totally. And if we can get a little bit of daylight between us and our title challengers, that's going to stand us in good stead. Ultimately, we're top of the league at the moment without another ball being kicked by any of the other teams in the league currently, because we were in the early kickoff. You'd want to see us head over to Chelsea and, like you said, get that win, because it's going to put us to where we need to be. We're not going to get any change out of these opponents here, and the guys that we're actually going up against as well. Great comment here from Jonathan as well. First half, Mane looked to off it. but came into it more in the second half, got into some dangerous positions. I totally agree with you. And all we want to see is him actually pushing and going forward as well. We've got some fans in the background, SS, I'm sure.
I've got Paul Machin and the Redmen over here.
Oh, have we? Oh, I think we'll head over and join those very shortly. I'm sure we will. I recognised
that face with no camera behind me.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll head over there and join those guys really, really shortly. But yeah, no, KT, a great comment from you as well. I like that Elliott wins a lot of fouls too. No, I agree with you. And it's positive to see that he's actually trying to draw the foul and get involved to make sure that the opposition are not retrieving possession of him. And that shows guts as well. Jamie Martin as well. We're officially back if we beat Chelsea. Jamie Martin, we never fucking left, mate. We never left. Yeah, we never left, son. I'm telling you now, we never left.
No, really. I mean, when's the last time we played our first 11 all at the same time on the pitch, all in form? It's been a while, isn't it? You know, Robertson out, Fabinho out. So our team's going to improve. You know, we still look very early days. We still look a little bit pre-season-y, in my opinion. I think we've had a really lucky start with Norwich and Burnley. You know, they're both going to be coming, in the bottom 5-6 positions in the league.
Yeah, so in terms of fixtures, I agree with you.
Yeah, everybody's going to get better. You know, Henderson was outstanding today. That's his first game of the season. You know, I think he played half an hour in pre-season. He's only going to get better. Yeah. Fabinho will be back. You know, Bobby and Jota are only going to get better. Mane and Salah are only going to get better. And, you know, once Trent and Robbo were linking up again, and Van Dijk and Matip build that partnership, you know, we saw Gomez come on for a bit today as well. So everybody getting more minutes in the tank, getting used to being back out there again and finding their levels that, like you mentioned, you know, when we were in 1920 and every week everybody was at 8 or a 9 or a 10 out of 10, and, you know, nobody could live with us. We need to go on one of those runs where we win, 11, 12 matches on the bounce or at least unbeaten. I think we actually have Chelsea at Anfield next week. I did think it was away, but he's actually at home. So, what better place than to get another win? You know, you mentioned that revenge tour. Well, Burnley beat us here last year. We've beaten them today. Chelsea beat us here last year. Let's get another scout.
Mate, it's happening. I'm telling you, I'm happening, and I want to see the hashtag out there, guys. Hashtag Revenge Tour 2122. We've got Sexy Satan 888 in the comments as well. What a name, God!
What a name!
You must be the devil. Won't go near you. Clean sheets is the thing. I want to see. Hopefully, v Chelsea too. I agree with you. If we can get a clean sheet against Chelsea, that would be three clean sheets on the bounce. And again, that shows that defensively we are starting to put together more accomplished performance. Something that we've been used to over Jurgen Klopp's tenure in the last sort of 2 or 3 years at Liverpool Football Club. Last year being the anomaly, and let's actually make it the anomaly. Let's firmly cement ourselves as title challengers, as title favourites in these early games in the season. And I mean, just before we start to close, what's your thoughts heading into the Chelsea game? Do you see another win for Liverpool on the bounce?
I mean, it's an interesting one. I'll be watching the Chelsea-Arsenal game tomorrow. I mean, Arsenal aren't really much of an opponent at the moment, but really to see where Chelsea are. You know, they played Villarreal, looked pretty average, and won a penalty shootout. Obviously, they played last week as well. Looked pretty good. So it's good against Crystal Palace again. They're a very new team, lots of new signings, new managers. So it's been difficult to judge them so far. But I think we're going to see more of a return to home wins again this season, and I think we're going to see more predictable results again. I think there were so many crazy results last season. I think the top four, both Manchester clubs, Chelsea and ourselves, are going to win most weeks now. I think that gap, that normality, crowds back in the stadium, players not picking up COVID every 5 seconds. We're going to see a bit more of a return to prediction, and the bookies losing a few more actors than they were last season. So I look at that Chelsea game. We'll look Hakute against Arsenal potentially. Maybe we'll see him against us as well. But it's on LFC Daytrippers. Give it a go.
Yeah, there you go. Look,
some fans here.
SS has got fanboys. LS has got fanboys.
I would back us. Like commented in there. If we get a clean sheet against Chelsea at home, a 0-0 draw at home isn't the end of the world in the third game of the season. You scared them now.
Here they are. Look, Thiago's father, the shouting name. Here they are.
But no, as long as we don't lose it, I mean, it'd be brilliant. 3 from 3 and to beat one of the top 4 teams in the third month of the season would be fantastic. But a draw is not the end of the world. I'd much prefer a win, because you need to win your home games. We mentioned again, you take a draw at Stamford Bridge, you take a draw at Old Trafford, you take a draw at the Etihad, and realistically, you'd expect to win every other game. You'd go into every other game pretty much thinking anything but a win here is you know, a little bit disappointing.
He's
So
nailed on,
yeah, why not? We're at home. This is Anfield. This is the place where, you know, dreams are made, trophies are won. So why can't we win today? And why can't we win next week? So yeah, I'm all for it. And
agree with you.
yeah, I think it could happen. I would back us. Like you say, Henderson's gonna have another game. And LFC Daytrippers obviously in the comments. Probably Gav, who was your man of the match today? For me, Jordan Brian Henderson was outstanding. So yeah, absolutely. Henderson.
So you go
after half an hour. After half an hour, he was the man of the match. If he came off after half an hour, he would be the man of the match. He was that good.
Do you know what? I'd have to agree with you. It was great to see him included in the match day squad today. Another shot because he was really fit. So again, I'll go with Hendo for man of the match. Well, we've got Jim Martin in the comments here just as we close. Trent, my man of the match. And guys, listen, we're just going to start to wrap things up. SS, please tell the people what we've got going on heading forward into next week.
Yep, so the Fab Four will be back next Friday over at the Red Sea Pod. So guys, if you haven't followed us, obviously we are on the match reactions on Daytrippers, but we've got our own channel, the Red Sea Podcast. So next Friday, we'll be doing the Fab Four Liverpool-Chelsea preview. International break coming up, so we'll get back to our tier list. So players from the 70s to the present day in each position, ranking them as we go. And we've got a deadline day special as well, haven't we, on the Tuesday? Transfer show with a few special guests coming on for some cameos. So lots to look forward to.
Definitely. So, guys, if you're not following us already, please head over to the LFC Daytrippers on Twitter and also like and subscribe to here as well. Please hit the bell button so you get the notifications for what's going on with the LFC Daytrippers. Also, head over to Red Sea Podcast on YouTube and on Twitter as well and do the same. Like and subscribe and hit that bell button so you do not miss a thing. Definitely.
Oh, I think he's frozen. But yeah, that's from us, guys.
Thanks again, guys.
Good show. Cheers, guys.